Namandam, 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 namandam. Well, good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us for our April Shotsuki Hoyo monthly memorial and adult Dharma service. I'd like to start by reading the names of those who've passed away in the month of April. Kinoe Adachi, Shigetaro Adachi, Shima Akiyoshi, Beatrice Akiko Bunna, Heisaku Fuji, Sakichi Fuji, Tsue Fuji, Takano Fukuda, Hiroshi Fujikawa, Kikuhei Fujimoto, Mary Fujimoto, Tsuneji Gonda, Shige Harada, Takashi Hatakeyama, Alan Hayashida, Ruth Reiko Hirabayashi, Yoshio Hiramoto, Ichiko Hirao, Akira Hirota, Tadao Hisaoka, Hamae Hori, Kijiro Hori, Misaku Horiuchi, Toshiko Ikeda, Matsu Ishikawa, Toku Kamano, Harry Kanada, Jim Kanada, Sanzo Kanagaki, Kitoe Kaneko, Kimiko Kaneshige, Pamela Kaneshige, Tadashi Kaneshige, Paul Kanzaki, Issei Kato, Charles Kawata Jr., Tora Kido, Kikutaro Kimura, Kunio Kisanuki, Ruri Kitabayashi, Joe Kiyota, Kiku Kobayashi, Sono Kobayashi, Kenso Kobori, Yasue Mai Kodani, Jun Hisako Kuge, Sannosuke Kurotori, Patty Rutsuko Lomas, Jane Matsui, Takeko Aline McVicker, George Isamu Misaki, Kyo Miyagawa, Isao Mizusaki, Miyako Mori, Toshio Mori, Takako Murakawa, Shozo Nagai, Ellen Naito, Mitsuharu Naito, Shigeo Naito, Alice Nakagawa, Jeanette Nakagawa, Fred Nakagiri, Toshiyuki Nakamura, Asano Nakano, Yoshio Nakano, Wasaburo Nakano, Yonezo Nakatani, Bernice Nakaya, Kiyoshi Nakaya, Takenori Nakayama, Jane Nishi, Hideaki Noda, Ayako Nomura, Kazue Nomura, Junko Nomura, Kikuko Nomura, Shunso Norimoto, George Okai, Taigi Oniki, Tokuzo Otaguro, Doreen Otsuka, Matsutaro Otsuka, Etsuko Ryujin, Kimi Sakai, Isa Sata, Sayoko Satake, Jukichi Seta, Shizu Seta, Fuji Setaka, Tetsuo Shigematsu, Iwao Shigemoto, Tsugio Sugimura, Kita Sumimoto, Keiko Takahashi, Takeshi Takahashi, Yozo Takahashi, Cynthia Takemoto, Pam Tamori, Shoji Tamori, Shinnosuke Tamura, Ichiro Tanabe, Nancy Tanaka, Baby Tanaka, Carl Tani, Kyuzaburo Taniguchi, Yakue Terada, Iku Tsuchiya, Grace Tsujimoto, Reiichi Tsukimura, Seiichi Umemoto, Kyo Watanabe, Chujiro Watanabe, Mary Uehara, Katashi Yamabe, Minezo Yamamoto, Risaku Yamamoto, Ruth Yamamoto, Toyotaro Yamanashi, Henry Yamashita, Fred Yokoyama, Sam Yoneyama, Jerry Yoshida, Yone Yoshioka, Henry Yoshisato, Kiyoshi Yoshiura, George Yuto, Kei Yuto, Risaburo Yuto. Okay, next we'd like to have Sutra chanting, and so today we will chant Sanbutsuge. I forgot what page it's on. It might be 21. It might be 22. 22. So we'll chant Sanbutsuge on page 22. In the past, we used to do incense offering during the chanting, but we're not doing that now. So you can offer incense at the end if you haven't already. So we'll just chant together. Namanda, 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 namanda. Nichi ga tsumani shuko enyo kai shitsu onpei yunyaku jumok nyorai yogen chose murin shogaku dayon koru jippo kaimon shojin sanmai chie itoku muryo shishoke ujin tai zenem shobutsu hokai gujin jin no kugo gai tai mumyo yokunu seson yomu nin no shishi jin toku muryo kukun kodai chie jin myo komyo iso shindo dai sem ganga sabutsu zai shoho kado shoji mifuge datsu fusejoi kainin shojin nyoze samai chie ijo gosei tokubutsu fugyo shigam isai kuku isadayam keshi ubutsu yakusen okuman muryo daisho shunyo goja kuyo isai shito shobutsu funyo gudo kensho fukyak hinyo goja shobutsu sekai bufukake mushu setsudo komyo shisho henshi shokok nyoze shojin nijin nanyo ryoga sabutsu kokudo daiichi goshu kimyo dojo chozetsu kokunyo nayom nimu toso gato aimim do datsu isai jippo nai shoshin netsu shoujo ito ga kokeraku anno korutsu jimyo ze ga shinsho hotsugam no riki shoyok jippo se son chiemuge joryo shi som chiga shingyo keryo shinshi shoku doku chu gagyo shojin ninju fuke Thank you once again for joining us for our April Shotsuki Hoyo. It's such a beautiful day, finally. Sun is out. It's supposed to be 77 degrees in Gilroy, I guess. Maybe not here, but like finally, wow, warm weather. What's going on? So spring has sprung. Happy Easter if you celebrate. I talked about it in the first service, and some of you were here for the first service, so I'm not going to talk about it too much. But if you want to hear my thoughts on Easter and Buddhism, kind of Buddhist take on it, please watch the video of the earlier service from today. One of the things that came up is the middle way. For me, anyway, I think one of my favorite Buddhist teachings is the middle way between extremes. And I felt like I kind of experienced it as I was reading the names. So it's kind of a long list, right? Each month we read the names of the people who've passed away in this past month, or this month throughout the years, right? So sometimes I saw in here a 50th year, right? Someone, this year is the 50th year. It means 49 years since they passed, but it's kind of this 59th cycle that we're going into. There's, 33rd year, 25th year, 13th year, 7th year, and 3rd year, right? That we get these different, first year. So we get, for different people, different period of time has passed, right? Since you've lost your loved one. But it's not an easy list to read. And partway through, I caught myself thinking, I'm doing pretty good. and that's when I mess up, right? So kind of a thought intrudes and throws me off track. So, it was almost, I don't know if it was harder or easier when I was pre-recording these, because if I made a mistake, I just kind of stop, leave a space, start over again from the previous name, and then edit it later. Can't do that. This is live, right? And so, that's, I guess, kind of part of being a musician, and, that you make a mistake and you just keep on going, right? You can't, oh, I'm sorry, I made a mistake, hold on. Although I kind of did that this time. I was like, oh, I messed that one up big enough, I had to say it again properly, right? Then I noticed, oh, I messed up again. And that was kind of when I wasn't thinking. And there can be a good not thinking, but this to me was more of a, like, maybe was I going kind of autopilot a little too much, right? And not focusing. So really not easy, huh? There's maybe a middle way where, not thinking too much, not letting outside thoughts intrude, but also not thinking, right? Not going on autopilot. And there's this middle way of reading these names live, right? With just the right amount of attention, right? And not too tight, right? Not too loose. That's actually one of the classic examples of the middle way, is Shakyamuni Buddha, having someone come see him, and this person, walked miles and miles and miles and miles and to come see, and actually was doing a lot of walking meditation and walking and kind of walking too much maybe, right? And not being able to meditate. So Shakyamuni Buddha says to him, do you play the veena, which is this Indian lute kind of instrument? And the guy says, oh, of course, I'm a noble person, I play the veena. And he goes, well, when you tune your strings too tight, right, does it work? No, that doesn't work when you tune it too tight. You can even break the string. Well, do you tune them really loose? No, of course not. You have to tune it just right. He said, aha, right? So the way to Buddhahood is like that, right? That we don't want to be too tight, not too loose, not too much this extreme, not too much that extreme, and we want to be able to hit it just right, right? And so not easy though, really not easy. But what I like about this middle way idea is that it's very flexible. It's not dogmatic, right? I can't just say, do this, don't do that, right? That each one of us, we're different. Each situation we get in, we're different, is a different situation, right? So the middle way for me right now might be different than the middle way for you. The middle way for me 2 hours from now might be different than the middle way for right now. Right? And so kind of having this openness to trying to be aware of when I'm falling too much into one extreme or the other, right? And trying to walk this middle way. And that's one of my favorite things about Buddhism, is just even this idea of path, of being on a path. And I kind of mentioned it earlier, there's a lot of different kinds of path in Buddhism, and it's not the only religion that has path, Taoism too. And in fact, that word Tao, sometimes it looks like Tao, right? They write it T-A-O, but that's pronounced Tao. And that is literally path or street. In Japanese, it would be michi, right? So this idea of this path that we can walk. Right? And so the Chinese, when Buddhism went into China, they already had Taoism for centuries. And then they get this new teaching, Buddhism. And so one way they translate it is Buddha Tao, Butsudo, the path of Buddhism, right? This Buddhist path that we can walk. But that term is found Maruga in Sanskrit, right? So it's not like the Chinese made that up. Even in Indian Buddhism, even the Eightfold Path, right there, right? This idea of path, this path that we can walk. And so that's one of my personal favorite parts of Buddhism, because it's so flexible, right? And that it's not just a Buddhist doctrine kind of thing, but maybe just in my own life, in your life, right? Maybe you realize, oh yeah, maybe I am on a path, right? Not just wandering aimlessly, no direction at all, right? That Buddhism allows us to think about our life as a path. I think that's why a long time ago, Miharu Okamura, one of my former junior Y students, she did a thing where she took Disney songs that related to Buddhism. And so one of the ones that introduced me to the song, because I actually wasn't aware of it, was Life is a Highway from Cars. If you ever watch Cars, right? So they have this remake of this Canadian song, Life is a Highway, and she picked up on that, right? That this is kind of like part of Buddhism, right? We could read it in a Buddhist way. The song, I'm sure, whoever wrote it wasn't Buddhist necessarily, but this idea, life is a highway, right? Wow, life is a journey, right? Life is this path that we can walk. Jodo Shinshu gives us the idea of Ondobo Ondogyo, which is fellow journeyers on the path. Right? That we're actually walking this path together. Right? It's not something I have to do alone. And so recognizing that that's one of the benefits of being Buddhist. That's one of the benefits of being part of a temple, is that you can be part of a sangha. You can be part of a community and where we're fellow travelers. Right? We're traveling this path together. Don't have to do it alone. And also, we have many fellow travelers that were traveling with us before, right? That the names on the list, all of these people that I read for the April Shotsuki. And actually, they've kind of transitioned to a different thing, right? They're no longer fellow travelers. Now they're guides. Now they're teachers. As we were chanting the Sanbutsuge, one of my favorite lines, Sanbutsuge is from the larger sutra. It's about, I don't want to give you too much detail, but it's about Amida Buddha before he became Buddha. So he's kind of like Shakyamuni. He was actually a king before he became Buddha. But this king meets a Buddha, a different Buddha, and realizes, I want to do that. I want to be like you. You're amazing. And recites Sanbutsuge. So that Sanbutsuge is this king, Dharmakara, who encounters a Buddha and starts praising him, praising the Buddha, and then realizes, I want to do that too. I want to be a Buddha too. So when I become a Buddha, I'm going to cultivate the 6 paramitas, and so Fuse Joi is one of the lines. Fuse is dana, that's selfless giving. It's the G in Grandpa delivers pizza every Monday and Wednesday, actually, right? That it's actually fuse is the Chinese or the Japanese term. So sometimes Japanese people, when they make donation to church, they write fuse or ofuse on the envelope. And that's related to this idea of dana, of selfless giving, right? This giving and generosity that's a Buddhist value. And cultivate all of them, all the way up to chie, wisdom. Right? That's the awareness that I talked about in the first service. But then, one of the lines, my favorite lines in here, kokunyo nayon. And so what you have to know is nayon is apparently a transliteration of nirvana. So at some point, when Buddhism went from India to China, they're using these Indian words, and somehow they start being able to talk to each other and communicate and translate. Right? And so one of the terms they chose for nirvana, one is nehan, but this other one is nayon. And so this is the Japanese pronunciation. So maybe the Chinese characters were pronounced differently in Chinese. It's like what, 1,500, 1,800 years ago, right? And they're encountering this new language and trying to come up with terms. So nayon, nirvana. Koku, if you know Japanese, koku is like kuni, country. Right? Normally, like Beikoku, we live in Beikoku, the rice country of America. I don't know why they chose rice country, right? Actually, I do know. It was sounding things out, America, America. And then the ame can also be read be, rice, kome, right? And so they call us the rice country, even though I think they like their rice better, right? Japanese people aren't like looking, we want to have Uncle Ben's or whatever, right? The American rice very different, but that kuni, koku, here it means the Pure Land of Amida. Nyo means like or thus. So koku nyo nayon, my country, my Pure Land will be like nirvana. So we think about the people, all these people who've passed, that they've been born in the Pure Land. So one way to think about that is it's kind of like a paradise, like heaven. It has those aspects to it. And it seems kind of like a place. And it seems like there are people there. right? And so one way we can think about our loved ones who've passed is that they've been born in the Pure Land. They've been born in Amida Buddha's Buddha land, where they can listen to the teachings all the time and they can visit other Buddhas. But Shinran understands it even more like this. The Pure Land is like nirvana. So it's actually, when you go to the Pure Land, you instantaneously become Buddha. And you don't actually have to stay there. You don't even want to stay there. You want to come back here to help, to guide, right? To be like a Buddha and help us who are not yet Buddhas. So, just thinking about this, right? That here we are, fellow travelers, right? Fellow travelers of the way. And we don't have to do it alone in one sense, that it's not just me, it's me and you and all of us, right? That we can walk the path together as temple members or as Buddhists. But also, we have guides. The most important guide, Amida Buddha, right? Shakyamuni Buddha. One of the ways to understand, we don't recite three treasures, but we did in the first one, right? I go to the Buddha, I take refuge in the Buddha is how we translate it, right? But another way to understand it is I go to the Buddha for guidance. I go to the Dharma for guidance. I go to the Buddha, I go to the Sangha for guidance, or that I rely on them. And we can also understand these people on our list also as guides, right? That we can think of, they're not here. This is one of the difficulties, right? And this aspect of memorials, when we're faced with the truth of impermanence, that we have to face this truth that they're no longer here as we knew them. But we can also understand them as still with us in a different way. Right? And so one way to think of that is as guides, as teachers, as Buddhas. And so I like it. It's a neat system. I mean, this is the kind of the system of Jodo Shinshu, that we go to the Pure Land, but we don't stay. When we get there, we return. We come right back. The O-so echo and Gen-so echo. O is to go, Gen is to return. So Shinran has this idea that not only are we wanting to go to the Pure Land, trying to go to the Pure Land, but I think that we're also always encountering people in the returning aspect, right? That this returning aspect as well, so that I don't like to be too explicit about what that might be. It's for each of us to find in our life. It's for each of us to have this experience, I think. And also, as I said in the first service, it's obvious maybe, but Buddhism isn't the only religion, right? There are different ways to understand life. There are different ways to understand reality. One of the great things about America is that we can experiment or live these different ways, right? And we all do, whether we realize it or not. Right? And so like Easter today, right? I know that I hear even in the morning, the first people that came, they're like, Happy Easter! And like, okay, For me, I said it in the first class, in the first sermon, but that we can have these different understandings of what life is about. And so a big part of our understanding is that we're fellow travelers on this way, right? Walking this Pure Land path, aspiring for birth in the Pure Land of Amida Buddha, but also surrounded by these Genso, these returning bodhisattvas, right? These returning Buddhas. And we can find that actually our relationships with those who have passed continue, but in a different way. Right? We continue to feel their impact on us. And so I wish that you find them in your life, in your way, right? With your experience, with your history, with your relationship with those who've passed. So I want to thank you very much. Why don't we conclude the Dharma message with Gassho. On the special occasion of this April Shotsuki memorial service, let us think about our loved ones, reflecting on our relationships, and finding them as guides and teachers as we continue on the path. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namanda. Namanda. Should we sing Ondokusan II And it's in the book somewhere. I used to have a piece of paper up here, but I moved it. 76, thank you. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo. Okay, I'd like to turn it over to Robert Noguchi for announcements. Get this set up here. Headphones. Okay.
Oh, thank you very much, Sensei. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Buddhist Church of Oakland. Thank you very much for attending this morning's service. As I mentioned in the last service, so I want to thank everyone for coming out for Hanamatsuri, which was a terrific turnout, and we had a really nice service along with guest speaker Reverend Kodo Umezu, and then had a little retirement reception for him, a little 3 years late, but it was a very nice event that we had in the social hall afterwards. I want to thank everyone for coming, and of course thank all those that were involved in making it happen too, because it was some work put into getting that done. So thank you all very much. I'd like to thank Reverend Bridge for his Dharma message and for officiating today's service, Reverend Michael Endo for assisting in today's service, Steve Terusaki for playing the organ, our Host One group chaired by Gary Tominaga, providing hospitality for those in attendance at the church today, and the Zoom crew working downstairs on the Zoom production through YouTube, making all that happen, the sights and sounds of the service today. So thank you all very much. Let's see, next Sunday is going to be the Pets Memorial Service, and it's on the BCO website. You scroll down here, among other things. Pets Memorial Service is next Sunday, April 16th, and there's a form that you could fill out for your pet to acknowledge a pet that you lost over the past year or so. So go ahead and fill that out and send that back, get that back to us. Going to the BCA website, BuddhistChurchesOfAmerica.org, there's a couple of events happening actually, and as more live events start coming back. So like this first was a Hanamatsuri Carnival at Orange County. So for those of you who are in Southern California, that'll be next weekend. The 2023 Federation Dharma School Teachers League Conference will be in Palo Alto here in the Bay Area, April 29th and 30th. So with special guest keynote speaker, Reverend Candace Shibata of Stockton. And also in June, there's a yoga, Buddhism, and a healthy lifestyle weekend workshop with Bob Matsueda of the Buddhist Churches of America, among very many special guests as well. That'll be happening June 9th through the 11th. And I guess one other thing that I forgot to mention in the last service is that this weekend and next weekend is the Cherry Blossom Festival, the Northern California Cherry Blossom Festival in San Francisco, and San Francisco's Japantown. And the Buddhist Church of Oakland is participating with other Bay Area temples, Buddhist temples, in having an information booth in the plaza, I believe. And you're more than welcome to stop by and say hello and receive information about Jodo Shinshu Buddhism, as well as information about being here in Oakland or any of the other Bay Area temples. So that's happening this weekend and next weekend, Saturday and Sunday, 15th and 16th. Okay. Back to the Buddhist Church of Oakland website, buddhistchurchofoakland.org. We accept and appreciate donations of all kind. So there's a number of buttons here that you could donate via PayPal. So please use that to make donations. And again, we really appreciate your support of the Buddhist Church of Oakland. Okay, with that, I'll send it back to Sensei. Thank you very much and have a great day.
Thank you, Robert. Okay, this will conclude our April Shotsuki Hoyo and monthly memorial and adult Dharma service when we conclude with Gassho. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Okay, thank you. Get out there and enjoy the day.